You've been traveling for 2 weeks, and the second your horse spots you from across the pasture, he starts whinnying. Loudly, continuously, not stopping until you're close enough to touch. It feels like he missed you. But then the doubt creeps in. Am I just projecting human emotions onto an animal that doesn't actually feel that way? Other horse owners swear their horses don't care when they're gone, that they're just food-motivated or routine-driven. So why do some horses seem genuinely attached to their humans, while others are indifferent? Researchers developed the first validated tool to measure horse-human attachment and found it mirrors the same emotional patterns in human relationships: attachment anxiety and avoidance. But here's the harder question. Does attachment run both ways? Behavioral evidence suggests yes. When startled, some horses flee to safety. Others run toward their human, choosing reassurance over distance, a classic marker of attachment in mammals. The science is catching up to what horse people have felt for years. This bond might be real, not just projection. So let's start with the big question. Can animals actually form attachments to us, or are we just reading our own emotions into their behavior? This isn't a new debate. For decades, scientists were trained to avoid anthropomorphism, the tendency to attribute human feelings to animals. The thinking was, horses don't have human brains, so they can't have human emotions. But that framework is starting to shift. Because the absence of human-style emotions doesn't mean the absence of emotions entirely. Think about it this way. Dogs recognize their owners' faces. Cats show preference for certain people over others. Elephants grieve their dead. Birds mate for life. These aren't human emotions. They're species-specific emotional systems that serve evolutionary purposes. And horses? They're highly social prey animals whose survival depends on bonding, reading social cues, and forming coalitions within herds. The capacity for attachment isn't uniquely human. It's a mammalian adaptation. Research in comparative psychology shows that attachment behaviors exist across species, and they serve a consistent function: maintaining proximity to a source of safety. In humans, that's usually a parent or caregiver. In horses, it's typically other horses. But when a horse spends consistent, positive time with a human, especially during vulnerable moments like illness, injury, or training, that human can become what psychologists call a secure base. A being the horse associates with safety, comfort, and predictability. Now, let's talk about how we know this isn't just wishful thinking. One of the clearest indicators of attachment is what happens during stress. Attachment isn't about affection, it's about regulation. When a securely attached infant gets scared, they don't run away from their caregiver, they run toward them. The caregiver's presence reduces stress hormones and restores a sense of safety. The same pattern shows up in horses. When a loose horse in an arena gets startled, maybe by a sudden noise or a bird flying overhead, some horses bolt to the farthest corner. Others immediately move toward their handler, even if that person is standing closer to the scary thing. That's a proximity-seeking behavior under stress, and it's one of the most reliable markers of attachment across species. Researchers have also observed that horses show what's called separation distress when removed from bonded companions. Heart rate increases, vocalizations increase, stress behaviors like pacing or pawing appear. And interestingly, these same behaviors sometimes show up when a horse is separated from a specific human they've spent significant time with. Not every horse, not in every situation, but often enough that it suggests something beyond simple routine recognition. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Just like humans, horses seem to vary in their attachment styles. Some horses are what you might call securely attached. They're comfortable with closeness. They seek contact when stressed. but they're also okay being alone. Other horses show anxious attachment. They become frantic when separated. They constantly check in with their human. They struggle to focus when their person isn't nearby. Still others show avoidant patterns. They tolerate human presence but don't actively seek it. They're more independent. They seem emotionally self-sufficient. And here's the kicker. Your attachment style might be shaping your horse's attachment style. If you're an anxious person who hovers, who constantly checks on your horse, who panics at every small change, your horse might start mirroring that anxiety. They learn that you're an unreliable source of calm because you're frequently stressed yourself. On the flip side, if you're emotionally distant, if you show up but never really connect, your horse might stop trying to connect with you. They adapt to the emotional environment you create. This has practical implications. If you want a horse that trusts you enough to seek you out during stress, you have to be a consistent source of calm. That means managing your own nervous system. Horses are reading your heart rate, your breathing, your muscle tension. They're not listening to your words, they're listening to your body. If you say, "It's okay," while your body is screaming panic, the horse believes your body. So what about the original question? Did your horse actually miss you? Here's the honest answer. We can't know for certain what a horse subjectively experiences. We can't ask them. We can't measure feelings directly. But we can measure behavior, physiology, and patterns. And those patterns strongly suggest that horses form preferential bonds with specific humans, that they seek proximity to those humans during stress, and that separation from those humans can cause measurable distress. Whether you call that missing or attachment or bonded preference is semantics. The underlying reality is your relationship with your horse has emotional weight. For both of you. And maybe that's enough. You don't need a horse to love you the way a human loves you. You just need to know that the bond you feel isn't entirely one-sided. That when your horse calls out across the pasture, it's not just random noise. It's communication directed at you. That when your horse seeks you out during a scary moment, it's because you've become part of their safety system. And that's not projection, that's relationship. Mutual, real, and worth honoring.